An original podcast from podlatino.com.
The washing machine breaks. Your car won't start.
Your kid needs an unexpected trip to the ER.
Your hours get cut at work. Now what?
For many families, these aren't just inconveniences.
They're full-blown emergencies.
This episode is about living in crisis mode, that space where one unexpected expense can spiral into disaster. We're talking about what it means to live without emergency savings, especially in Latino households across the US, and what we can do to change that. Let's start with the reality. According to a 2023 Federal Reserve report, almost 40% of US adults would struggle to cover a $400 emergency.
But when you focus on Latino households, the number jumps even higher. The Urban Institute found that only 26% of Latinos have access to $2,000 in emergency savings.
That's not enough to cover most rent, a car repair, or a minor medical bill. Why? Because emergency savings don't just depend on discipline.
They depend on income, on stability,
on opportunity. If you're working 2 jobs just to make rent, how do you save?
Meet Carla. She's 41, lives in Las Vegas, and works full-time as a hotel cleaner. She's a single mom with 2 kids. She budgets every dollar. But last month, her youngest broke an arm at school. Even with the visit on a payment plan, it meant cutting groceries and skipping a rent payment. I'm always one step away from falling, she says. I'm not lazy.
I just don't have a cushion.
That cushion, or lack of it, is what defines life in crisis mode. Let's look at the structure behind the struggle. Latinos in the US disproportionately hold jobs in industries with lower wages and less job security: hospitality, agriculture, domestic work, food service. These jobs often don't come with health insurance, paid sick leave, or consistent hours. Add rising housing costs, inflation, and childcare, and savings become a luxury. Even when you're disciplined, you're
still at risk. Now add culture to the mix. Many Latino families prioritize helping relatives over saving,
sending money back home,
supporting elderly parents,
helping a cousin through a tough time. It's beautiful.
It's generous.
And it's financially draining. Collectivism is a core value, but it often comes at the expense of self-protection. And
then there's shame. Admitting you don't have savings can feel like failure. It's not something we talk about.
Especially if you're doing okay on the outside. Living in crisis mode also takes an emotional toll. You wake up in fear. You lose sleep. You avoid checking your balance. You delay care.
You snap at your
kids. You feel alone. This isn't just about numbers, it's about stress.
Chronic, toxic, suffocating stress. Let's talk about what happens when the unexpected hits. Scenario 1. You lose your job.
No savings equals immediate panic.
You're late on rent. You borrow from a payday lender.
You're trapped in a debt cycle. Scenario
2. Your car breaks down. You can't afford to fix it.
You miss work. You lose income.
You get further behind. Scenario 3. Your child gets sick. You skip the doctor.
Things get worse. Now it's a bigger medical bill and a health crisis without a buffer. Every small issue becomes a landslide. Now, Pete, Lewis, and Carla, they're in their mid-30s, live in Houston and have 3 kids. For years, they lived paycheck to paycheck. But after a scare with a leaking roof that almost left them homeless, they decided to change. They started small. They opened a separate savings account. Every week, they transferred 10 no matter what. It wasn't much, but it was ours. Lewis says,
eventually, we had $500. Then $1,000. That savings helped when Carla needed dental surgery.
No credit cards, no loans, just the fund. They're still building,
still hustling,
but they sleep better. Let's talk solutions. 1.
Start small, really smalliest. Don't need to save $1,000 overnight.
Start with $5
or $10 a week. The goal is not the amount, it's the habit. Even coins in a jar add up.
Even hiding cash from yourself is a start. 2.
Automate what you can if possible. Set up automatic transfers.
Out of sight, out of temptation.
Some banks and apps round up your purchases and save the difference. Use tools like Capital Chime, Acorns, Empower, or your credit union savings goals. Feature 3.
Use community support if you're part of a tanda or lending.
Circle. Propose an emergency fund pot.
Create a shared goal. Everyone contributes weekly, but it's only used for true family emergencies. Mutual aid can become structured safety. 4. Cut the guilt. You are allowed to save,
even if others need help.
even if you feel like you should.
Share every extra dollar. You can't help others if you're drowning. Prioritize stability first, then generosity. 5.
Prepare for predictable emergencies. Car needs repairs.
It will again.
Kids get sick.
It'll happen.
Your job is insecure.
Plan like it is in single quotes to name your emergencies before they happen.
Build many funds for
Medical, housing, transportation, family support. Labeling the danger reduces its power. 6.
Talk about it. Normalize money talks at home.
Teach your kids what an emergency fund is.
Let them see you prioritize it. Change starts with conversation. 7.
Get creative. Sell what you don't use. Pick up a side hustle with a clear savings goal.
Use cash backups and save the returns. Every cent counts. Every move builds resilience. Living in crisis mode is not a character flaw.
It's the result of systems designed without you in mind. But resilience is also real.
And savings, even tiny ones, are an act of resistance. Let's be honest, most of us weren't taught this.
We weren't shown how to save.
We didn't grow up seeing cushion, we grew up watching hustle. But that doesn't mean we can't change. We can stop living in crisis mode.
We can teach each other how.
We can breathe easier one emergency at a time. Back to Carla last week.
Her car needed new tires.
This time, she had $300 in savings. She still felt the hit, but not to panic. I used to cry when something broke, she says. Now I take a breath.
I have something.
I'm not alone, neither are you. This is Money Talks, Latino edition. In our next episode, we explore how entrepreneurship is reshaping the Latino dream and the cost of taking financial risks when no one else in your family ever has.